date of either Jan or May 25, then yeah, this video is going to be really helpful for you guys, because this is the most standard paper out there, and yeah, this is the most recent paper out there as well. So without wasting any more time, let's just dive deep into it. Right, so in the first question it said that the line L1 passes through the point A, and it has the coordinate of minus 520, and B that has the coordinate of 3 and 4, right? And find the equation of L1. Find the equation of L1 in the form of y equals to mx plus c. Alright, so you have been provided with two coordinates, 2 points and their coordinates as well, right? So 2 points A and B and their coordinate as well, right? And yeah, how do you find an equation of a straight line? To find the equation of a straight line, you need to know their gradient and at least the coordinate of one of the points. Since you have both of the points out there, so I mean, yeah, you can easily find the gradient using this formula. Gradient equals to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So y2 coordinate is minus 4, and x2 and x1 coordinate is 20, and sorry, I messed it up. So y2 is minus 4, and y1 is minus 5, and x2 is 3, and x1 is minus 5. I mean, it's a basic formula, so you just plug it into this formula and get a gradient of minus 3, right? And now to find the equation of a straight line, you need to use this formula, that is y minus y1 equals to m of x, m times x minus x1, right? M is the gradient, this is the gradient, right? And this y1 and this x1 can be any coordinate out there. So I took the first one, the coordinates of a, so I plugged it into the value and got an equation that is 3x plus 5, and yeah, this is the equation for L1, right? And in the second question, it said that L2 is perpendicular to N1. As soon as you hear this word perpendicular, this means that M1 times M2 is going to be equals to minus 1. So as soon as you hear this word like perpendicular, at that point of time you have to understand that the gradient of the first line or the second line is going to be equals to minus 1, right? The gradient of first line times the gradient of second line is going to be equals to 1. Okay, so L2 is perpendicular to L1, right? And passes through the midpoint of AB, right? So find an equation for L2 in the format of this, right? So how do you find an equation of L2, right? So basically the coordinate of midpoint is going to be of AB is going to be x coordinate of A plus x coordinate of B divided by 2, and y coordinate of A divided plus y coordinate of 2 B divided by 2, right? So this is how you get the coordinate of the midpoint AB, and for me it is minus 1 and 8, right? So as perpendicular, gradient 1 times gradient 2 is equal to be minus 1, right? And we know the gradient of L1 because y equals to mx plus c, right? So this equation is in the format of y equals to mx plus c, right? And m is the gradient, right? So here in this, from this equation we can understand that the value of m is going to be minus 3, right? So gradient of L1 is minus 3 times the gradient of L2 equals to minus 1, and yeah, gradient of L2 is going to be 1 by 3. Also, you have been provided that the coordinates of the midpoint of AB, right? Yeah, and they passes through the midpoint AB, right? So you know an x coordinate and a y coordinate as well. So you can easily find an equation of L2, right? So y minus y1 equals to m times x minus x1, similar equation. You just plug in the values of the coordinates of the midpoint of AB, minus 1 and 8 respectively, into the equation. Yeah, so this one and 1 and the gradient 1 by 3, and then you simplify the equation further and form an equation like this: x minus 3y plus 25 equals to 0. It's in the format as shown in the question above. Yeah, this is the format of the question. So yeah, let's just move on to the next one. All right, this is another basic question out there. It said that simplify this stuff, right? So to simplify this, first of all, what I did is I removed this bracket. I mean, and to remove this bracket, you need to multiply this 2 with 3, and also x to the power 4 times 3. I did that, and yeah, I simplified it up, and yeah, I got an expression like this, and then I simplified it further. I mean, um, let's just do it like this. 24 x to the power 12 y to the power 3 divided by 4x squared y to the power 4, right? Then I cut it off. I mean, yeah, basically cut it off and made the number a bit shorter as well. So this comes to be 6 x to the power 10, and x gets cancelled, and y3 and y4, right? This comes to be y, right? It's a basic one. So yeah, this is the answer. And um, it said that find the exact value of a such that this is equals to this in the form of p root 3 plus q. Find the exact value of it. So to be honest, this question was a bit tricky. Okay, so first of all, what I did is I cross multiplied this with that. I cross multiplied this with that. And yeah, if you do this cross multiplication, you get an expression like this, right? You get an expression like this. But before I start, let me just give you an idea of something, right? So if you multiply something, root of something, square root of something with the square root of something else, you get the number that was inside that square root. For instance, here I inserted x, and here there is this x as well. So the multiplication or the product of these two is going to be x. This is because what do you mean? What do you understand about square root? Right? Square root denotes a value of half, right? It could be something, right? X to the power half, right? And this multiplication, when the bases are same, like when the bases are same, you add up the products, right? And yeah, you take the base that is common. So in this case, this is x, and you add up the product. So the summation of x to the power half plus half is equals to 1, right? So if you multiply something, square root of something, with the square root of that thing again, then you get a value of 1, right? So I mean, yeah, this is how um, it works. And there's this another thing, right? So a root 27, right? We can also write this as 9 times 3, right? Because 9 times 3 equals to 27, right? And square root of 9 is going to be equals to 3, right? So this can also be written as 3a root 3, right? So this is how I simplified it up. I multiplied it up and simplified it up, and yeah, it came something like this. Yeah, as you can say, I mean, these maths are kind of self-explanatory, right? So this is how I did it, and yeah, I get to this point. So I get to this point. So here I took a common, and I made a the subject, and I get to this point, right? Now I have to simplify. Simplify it further, because in the question it said that it said p root 3 plus q, right? So I have to simplify it further, right? And to simplify that, I have to do a process that is what we refer to as rationalization. So rationalization is something where you take up this denominator, you take up this denominator to the upper hand side. So rationalization is a process. I mean, you guys should have learned this from grade 9 onwards, right? Edexcel IAL syllabus of ADMAS, right? So rationalization is something where you multiply, where you take this denominator up and multiply it with both the numerator and the denominator again, right? And what you do another thing as well, that is you inverse this sign. So here it is minus, so in the multiplication form it is going to be plus. Here it is plus, so in the multiplication form this is going to be minus, right? And if this was minus, then in the multiplication form this is going to be plus, right? So yeah, this is the process of rationalization. So I did the process of rationalization, and yeah, at this point you can use up your calculator to get a value of this, right? Because yeah, you have to first show up some of the workings out there, because in the question it clearly said that you cannot use simply rely on technology, right? So yeah, basically once you get to this point, then yeah, you can use your calculator to find an answer. So it is in the format of p root 3 plus q. All right. Then let's move to the next question. It said that right. So fx equals to x plus 5 whole square by square root of x, right? By integration of x to to solve this problem, first of all, what we have to do is simplify it further. So let's just simplify it. So yeah, x plus a plus b whole square equals to x square plus 2x times b plus b square by root x, right? And then we can write this root x as 1 by 2x, x to the power 1 by 2, right? And then what I did is I divided it up, to be honest. So suppose I believe you guys know this formula, right? Suppose a to the power m, a to the power n. And if they're in the division format, what you do is take the power common and subtract it up, right? And if they're in the multiplication format, what you do is you take the power and add it up, right? I showed it up above as well. So basically that is the thing. And yeah, I get an expression something as this. I get an expression like this, right? And then what I do is I integrate it up then. And as there aren't any limit in the integration part, so basically I will be getting a constant as well, that is c. That is c. So this is the basic integration stuff. So yeah, I mean, you guys can take a look at this. And yeah, this is the result of this integration. Right. So let's just move to the next part. Show that dy by show that dy. Okay, so f prime x, we can also refer to this as dy by dx is going to be equals to 0. Okay, so we have a format of the integration, right? We integrated it up and we have this format of that integration. We have an integrated expression, right? How do we convert this into a differentiated expression, right? So to do that, what you have to do is so to do that, oh no, wait. Oh, acha. So it said that show that f of x equals to 0. So I mean, yeah, it means this. So basically, you have to differentiate this up, and to differentiate this expression, you have to simplify it up to this format. I mean, yeah, you have to simplify it up to this format first of all, because this is easier, to be honest, than the upper one. You can also do this, but you have to do the UV method of differentiation. And yeah, if you do not know that method, then it's going to be a bit hard for you as well. So basically, let's just stick with the basic ones, since in P1 you do not have those product rules or those division rules and everything. So yeah, first of all, just you have to simplify this up, and we have already used this simplification in our integration equation as well. So where is that one? Yeah, this is the one. This is the simplified equation of the upper one. This one, right? This one. So basically, you take this up and you differentiate it. So yeah, x equals to basic differentiation. Yeah, this is basic differentiation equals to 0, right? Equals to 0. Up to this point, this was this basic differentiation. Now you have to understand the thing. It showed that they gave a format, right? It needs to be in this format. 3x squared plus 10x minus 25 is going to be equals to 0, right? So you have to write up in this format. 3x squared plus 10x minus 25. See? But see? So you get this format, right? So what you did was you took an LCM of this, you got rid of this two, and you get this format, right? However, see, there isn't a square, x square here, x here, and nothing. Like there shouldn't be any x here, right? So how do you get rid of this x? How do you get rid of this x? To get rid of this x, you have to divide it with minus 3 by 2. X to the power minus 3 by 2. You have to divide this up with x to the power minus 3 by 2 to 3 by 2 to get an square over here, to get an x over here, and to get rid of this minus 3 by 2, right? So yeah, basically this is how you do, right? And then yeah, I did it step by step. So 3x, as I said, as both of these bases are the same and as they are in the division method, as they are in the division form. So what you do is you subtract the power. So x to the power half minus 3 by 2. X to the power half minus 3 by 2, as they're in the division format. Like I showed you guys a bit earlier about the division and the product rule, right? So you have to use that rule. And that is how you get rid of that minus 3 by 2, and you get an equation that looks something like this, and it matches the upper one that they provided. So yeah, that one is equals to this one shown. And now they said that hence state the value of x for which dy by dx is equals to 0. So you have to now solve up this equation. 3x squared plus 10x minus 25 equals to 0. I mean, yeah, you can use your calculator, or you can use that factorization method. So yeah, you do this and you get two values, minus 5 and 5 by 3. You eliminate this minus 5 and take up this 5 by 3, because in the question it said that x should be greater than 0. X should be greater than 0. They clearly stated this fact in the question itself, so that x should be greater than 0, right? All right, now let's move to the next question. Yeah, I will be uploading the PDF of this solved paper as well. I mean, yeah, you can have a look at this, look at that as well. I mean, these questions are kind of self-explanatory, so I mean, I didn't explain up to that greater extent of details. Right, so in the fourth question, it says that figure 1 shows a sketch of the parts of the curve C1 and C2. Okay, this is C1, and this one is C2. Okay, done. Curve C1 has the equation of y equals to f of x, where f of x is a quadratic equation. Cuts the x-axis at origin and x equals to 4. Origin and x equals to 4. Origin and x equals to 4. C1 cuts the x-axis and at origin and x equals to 4. Okay. Has minimum turning points of 2 and minus 4.8. This is the x coordinate of the minimum turning point, and this is the y coordinate, right? Okay. So find f of x. To find an equation of the quadratic curve, you need to remember this formula, this completing square formula. Because to find the minimum or the maximum point, what you have to do is either you can use this differentiation method, or the completing square method. Completing square method, right? So I use the completing square method, and the completing square method has a formula of y equals to a x minus b whole square plus c, where b is the x coordinate of the maximum or the minimum point, and c is the maximum or the minimum value, which means the value of y, right? All right, so I have the coordinates of this maximum point, so y equals to a x minus 2 and minus 4.8, right? So I equated it up in this equation, and yeah, I have a constant, right? A. So how do I get this value, right? So in the question is said that this curve passes through the origin, right? And at origin, the x value and the y value is going to be equals to 0, right? So I put it up in this equation, and I found the value of a. So the value of a is equals to 1.2, right? And then I simplify this equation up again. So x equals to y, f of x equals to 1.2 times x minus 2 whole square minus 4.8. This is the equation of C1, right? Right, then the next question is said that the curve C2, okay, curve C2 has the equation y equals to z of x, and it is a cubic function, okay, cubic function, okay, cuts the x-axis at the origin and meets the x-axis at x equals to 4. Meet, meets. As soon as you hear this term meets, it means it would be in a format like x minus 4 whole square. Because when a cubic curve is in this format, it would just touch the axis. I mean, it wouldn't cut the axis. It would just touch the axis, because cubic curve basically is of a formula like this, plus 3, something like this, right? However, whenever they set up that it touched the point, it touched the axis at some point, it means that it's in this format, like this square format, right? I mean, yeah, I have made up detailed videos in all of these stuffs. If you don't have the access to those videos or you aren't sure where to find those videos, just comment below. Right. So yeah, and passes through the point 6 and 7.2, right? Find the equation of z of x, right? All right. So basically, um, to find an equation of z of x, we could use this format. I mean, x plus 1, x plus 2, x plus 3, I mean, yeah, blah blah blah, and compare two sides and get find the coefficients of the value of a, b, c, and so on, right? But however, I used up another method out here, because as they set up that they meet the axis at x equals to 4, so I use this fact that x minus 4 whole square, x minus 4 whole square, and ax is going to, this in total is going to be give me a cubic equation of x to the power 3, right? So I used up this fact instead of doing that multiplication thing and matching the coefficient stuffs and as well, right? And now I have to find the value of a, right? Now to find the value of a, they said they gave me 2 points, right? Like the curve passes through this point 6 and 7.2. So I equate it up in this equation and I find the value of a to be 0.3, right? So z of x equals to 0.3 x minus 4 whole square. Yeah, this is the equation for C2, right? And now they said that curve C1 and C2 meet in the first quadrant. Okay, they meet up in the first quadrant at the point P. Okay, use algebra to find these coordinates, right? So as soon as you hear this word coordinate, it means intersection. And whenever this something about intersection, what you have to do is you have to solve the equation simultaneously. So the equation of curve 1 is going to be equals to the equation of curve 2, right? Yeah, that is what I did. Equation of curve 1, f of x equals to the equation of z of x. And yeah, I got values of x to be x equals to 0, x equals to 8, and x equals to 4. Here I took the value x equals to 8 because x equals to 4 and x equals to 0 has already been mentioned in the question earlier, right? And now I have this value of x equals to 8, right? I could put it up in either the equation and in either of the equation like f of x or z of x to find the value of y, right? So the value of y equals to 38.4. So x and y of the coordinate P is going to be 8 and 38.4, right? All right. Let me just say up one more thing before moving further. This z of x something and f of x something can also be denoted by y, right? All right. So let's just move to the next question. Okay. So a plot of land OAB is in the shape is in the shape of a sector of a circle with center O, okay. Given that OA equals to OB equals to 5. OA equals to OB equals to 5. Okay, because this is the radius, to be honest. This is the radius. And angle AOB equals to 1.2 radian. Angle AOB is going to be equals to 1. Find the perimeter of the land of plot, right? So what do you understand by this? What perimeter? Perimeter would mean the outer surface or boundary. Perimeter means the outer surface slash boundary. Perimeter means the outer surface or boundary, right? So to find the perimeter of this, you need to know the value of this length, and this length as well, right? So yeah, this is going to be 5. This thing is going to be 5 as well. This entire thing is going to be 5 kilometer as well. Now you have to know this arc length of AB, and arc length has this formula of S equals to R theta. So use that up. Arc length equals to S equals to R theta. Radius is 5 and theta is 1.2, and you get a value of 6 kilometer, right? So now you know the value of OA, OB, and AB as well, and this is going to be 6 kilometer. So perimeter is going to be 5 plus 5 plus 6 equals to 16 kilometer, right? Right, and then you set up um, the point P. The point P lies on OB such that the line AP divides the plot of land into two regions, okay, R1 and R2, R1 and R2. So this line AP divide this plot of land into two regions, R1 and R2. Right, understood? They have also given up a ratio. All right, this is an interesting math because most of the students would find the area of R1 and then divide the area of R1 divided by 3 to find the area of R2. This wouldn't be the case. They have given a ratio. You have to find the proportion that each of this area represents. So area. So okay, so to find that, first of all, I have to know that entire area. I have to know this entire area. Like it's like this ratio, right? Suppose 1 by 4 represents is equals to 1 is to 4, right? So suppose x equals to 20, right? And 1 by 4 of 20 is going to be equals to 5, right? So this is the value after that you obtain after doing this ratio thing, right? So it said that someone like someone has this share of money or something like that, right? The person A has one proportion and person B has four proportion of it, right? So what is the total amount of money that person A is going to have out of 20, right? So 1 by 4 uh, sorry, is going to be 5. So 1 is to 4. Total proportion is going to be equals to 4 plus 1 equals to 5, right? So what is the total proportion of money that person A is going to have, right? So 1 by 5 times 20, right? So something like this. All right, so what I would do is first find the entire area. So this entire area is going to be area equals to half into r squared theta, right? Area equals to half into r squared theta. This entire area of AOP, this entire area. So area of AOP equals to half into 5 square into 1.2, that is equivalent to 15 kilometers square, right? In the question it is given that area of R1 equals to 3 times the area of R2, right? So I could rearrange this equation to get something like this. Area of R1 by area of R2 is equivalent to 3 by 1, right? This means that um, area of R1 is 3 in the proportion and area of R2 is 1 in the proportion, right? I mean, they are this ratio of these areas. So total ratio is going to be 3 plus 1, 4, right? And the proportion that is represented by area 2 is 1, right? So area 2 is going to be equals to 1 by 4 times the entire area. So area 2 is going to be equals to 3.75 kilometers square as shown in the question, right? Yeah, this was a kind of tricky one. I mean, first of all, you have to find the proportion that each of those area represents, and then you have to use that proportion and multiply that with the entire value to find the proportion that the value represents. Yeah, now you have the area of R2, right? And then in the next question, you said that find the length of AP. Find the length of AP, giving your answer to the nearest 100-meter, right? Find the length of AP. To find the length of AP, find the length of AP. Okay. Find the length of AP. We have to find this length, right? Find this length. The length of AP. So we know the value of theta. We know the length of this kilometer. This we have to find this, right? What we could do is first of all, you have to find the value of OP. And how can you find that? We have the area of R2, right? So half into a into b into sine theta is going to be equals to the area of R2, right? And from there, this is going to be a, this is going to be b. We can find the value of b easily, right? And then we have the value of b, right? Then we can use cosine rule, right, to find this length of AP. Yeah, so basically this is what I have done. So yeah, so finding OP, right? OP equals to area of R2, area of R2 equals to half into A into B into sine theta. A half into A into B into sine theta. You use this formula to find the area of a triangle. For instance, if you do not know the half into base into height, like if you do not have the base and the height of a triangle, you use this formula of half into A into B into sine theta, where A and B are the sides that are situated between the angles. So A and B are the sides that are situated between the angle, right? So use this formula and find the value of OP that is equivalent to B, right? So OP equals to 1.61 kilometer. OP equals to 1.61 kilometer, right? And then you need to find this length of AP. So you can easily use this cosine rule, right? So yeah, cos 1.2 equals to 5 square plus 1.61 square minus AP square, 2 times 5 into 6 into 1.61. So you get the length of AP, that is 4.67 kilometer, which is equivalent to 4.7 kilometer. All right, this was basic one as well. So let's move to the next question, that is question 6. Okay. Sketch the curve with the equation y equals to, with the equation y equals to this, right? With the equation y, okay. With the equation y equals to this. And they have given a range of x cannot be equals to -2, right? The limit is given there, right? Sketch on the curve the equation of the vertical asymptote. Vertical asymptote, it means the x asymptote, and the coordinates of intersection of C with the y-axis. At another thing, so at y-axis, x equals to 0, right? So you have to remember this fact, right? So the equation of the asymptote, vertical asymptote, it means the x asymptote. To find that, what you have to do is you have to equals the denominator to be 0. You have to equals the denominator to be 0. So this is the denominator. You have to equal this denominator to be equals to 0 to find the vertical x asymptote, that is equals to 2, right? And yeah, the y-intercept. So at y-intercept, x equals to 0. So here you have to put x equals to 0 in this equation, right? So you get a value of 1 by 2, right? And yeah, you do not have any x-intercept of this graph. So yeah. And now you have to sketch this curve, right? Sketch this curve of y equals to 1 by 2 minus x, right? So y equals to 1 by 2 minus x. This curve is similar to the curve of y equals to minus 1 by x in terms of the shape, because before x we have this negative stuff, right? So it's a graph of minus 1 by x, right? So yeah, this is the y-intercept. This is the vertical asymptote at x equals to 2. So you get a shape that should be similar to this one. Yeah, this one. Then it's set up. You have a straight line, and it has the equation of y equals to kx minus 4, right? line L cuts C at least once. Okay, cuts, meets, intersects, they all mean the same, right? And once you hear this up, you have to solve it up simultaneously. Show that K equals to this, right? At least once. At least once. You have another important term out here. You have to show that K, you get an equation of K, that is K square minus 5K plus 4 to be greater than equals to 0, right? So point of intersection, as I said, simultaneous equation. So you have the equation of that asymptotic graph and yeah, of that line as well, right? So what you do is you get it up and solve it simultaneously and you get a format like this. You get a format like this. However, this isn't the answer because you have to show that k square something is should be equals to greater than 0. So basically you know the discriminant thing, right? You basically know tangent, real and distinct point, real roots, and so on, right? But in the ACTs we use this technique. So whenever you hear this head word at least, you have to use an inequality sign that should be greater than equals to, and when you hear this sign at most, you have to use an inequality sign that should be less than equals to. I mean, this is handy, just remember that. So in the question it said that at least once, so I used greater than equals to 0. So b square minus 4 is greater than equals to 0. This entire thing is b, this is a, and this thing is c, right? A, b, c. B square minus 4ac greater than equals to 0. Yeah, so basically you solve it up, simplify it up, and you get something like this. Then in the next part it said that find the range of the possible values for k. So to find the range, you have to solve it up. So assume this greater than equals to be equals to 0 and get two values of k, right? Once you get two values of k, now you have to find the range. So to find the range, you basically need to draw a quadratic graph. I mean, I do not know the exact point of this graph. Oh yeah, I do know that is 1 and 4, right? And as the coefficient of k square is positive, it is similar to x square, right? K square is positive. It means that it is a minimum shape curve, right? And yeah, this entire thing is y, right? This entire thing is y, right? This entire thing, y equals to k square minus 5k plus 4. This entire thing is y because this entire thing represents the equation of a quadratic graph, right? So as y is greater than, I could, instead of writing this, I could write this up as y shortly, right? As y shortly. So as y is greater than equals to 0, it means that the curve opens upwards. Opens upwards. It means that it bulges outwards. It bulges outwards. I have detailed video on this as well. If you do need them, then yeah, comment below. I mean, yeah, graphs and inequalities. P1 equations and inequalities. Yeah, so basically I have detailed video on these stuffs as well, like bulges upward, bulges downward to find the range and everything, right? So um yeah, so basically as it bulges outward, it means that the value of 1 should be less than or equals to 1, right? And the value of 4 should be greater than or equals to 4, and the value of 1 should be less than equals to 1, right? As the curve is going outwards, the values are going outwards, right? So basically, yeah. And if for instance the values were going inwards, right? The values were going inwards, right? Like this, then you use this form, then use this format, then use this format. And as the values are going outwards, so for that reason you have to use this format, right? If you do have any question regarding this, I mean, yeah, you can find this to be confusing. If you find this confusing, just let us know in our page as well, or just let us know in the comment section. So yeah, this is the range of this. No, let's just move to question 7. All right, let me just ease this up. This one is another interesting question, and I know that many of you are going to get nervous when you see this, right? but do not go on the appearance of the question itself, right? Just try to do at least some part of it. I mean, yeah, you'll get a hang of it, right? So figure 3 shows a plot of the curve C1. Okay, C1, that is the equation of y equals to minus 4f of x. So from here I could understand two things. First of all, initially this was the graph of y equals to cos x. Then it was converted into y equals to minus cos x. Minus cos x means that y equals to minus f of x. Y equals to cos x, right? We can simply write this as y equals to f of x as well, right? As a function as well, right? So y equals to minus cos of x means that y equals to minus f of x. This y equals to minus f of x represents reflection on x-axis. Reflection on x-axis. The graph was initially supposed to be something like this. Starts from 1, like this, right? Starts from 1. Let's see, reflection on x-axis. So as it is reflected on this axis, all of the parts gets inversed up. So this part becomes this. See, this part becomes the upper one. See, and this part becomes the lower one. Clear with that? I. And apart from that, this is a stretch. This is a stretch of 4 as well. See, this curve is multiplied by 4. So this curve is a stretch of 4 as well. So I mean, the graph of y equals to cos x starts with plus 1, right? It has a maximum point of plus 1 and a minimum point of minus 1, right? So this one would be multiplied by 4 to get a graph of y equals to 4 cos x. And then the minus 4 cos x would mean that this entire thing shifts downward. I mean, it is reflected on the x-axis, right? So yeah, this is the trick of this graph. If you get a hang of this, then yeah, it becomes simpler. So point P, right? So figure 3 shows a graph, right? So pi-x is measured in radians. Points P and Q lie on the curve as shown in the figure. Points P and point Q lies on the curve as shown in the figure, right? All right. State the x coordinate of P. State the x coordinate of P. So state the coordinates of P, right? Find the coordinates of P. Coordinates of P, right? These should be the coordinates of P. What I said, if this was multiplied by 4 and if this maximum point was initially plus 1 and if it was multiplied by 4, then this plus 4 when reflected on the y-axis becomes minus 4, right? So the coordinate, the y coordinate of P is going to be equivalent to minus 4, right? Done. And now to find the x coordinate, you need to understand the thing. When the graph of y equals to cos x is equivalent to 0, right? So what is the coordinate here? Let me just check it up with my calculator. Cos, let me just give me a moment. Let me just check this value up. Cos, okay. So this is 0, right? So 0. So what of cos is 0? Cos 90 or pi by 2 equals to 0. So this is going to be equals to pi by 2. Cos 180 or cos pi is equals to minus 1. Minus 1. Then this one is going to be, give me a moment, 180 cos 270. Cos 270 is going to be equals to 0. Cos 270 or minus minus pi minus pi by 2. Cos minus 3 by 2 pi is going to be equals to 0. Minus 3 by 2 pi is going to be equals to 0, right? And cos minus 2 pi is going to be equals to minus 1. So this is going to be minus 2 pi and 4. I hope you're clear with that, right? So if you do not know the conversion between radians and degrees, so basically pi radian is going to be equivalent to 180 degree. You can use this format to convert from radian to pi, right? So I mean, yeah, this is 90, this is 180 minus 180 minus 90 minus 270 minus 360. This one is minus 360, right? So yeah, if you put these values in your calculator, you get this similar thing as well. So this was the coordinate of p. Yeah, I have written it up. P coordinate, x and y, x coordinate minus 4 is stress and everything, right? Yeah. And you have to now find the coordinates of q, right? Q. To find the coordinates of q, I mean, first of all, this cuts the x-axis, right? And at x-axis, y is going to be equals to what? 0, right? So basically, here, so at x-axis, y equals to 0. This was the initial equation of the curve, right? And at x-axis, y is going to be equals to 0. So cos inverse 0 is going to be 1 by 2. However, you're getting the basic acute angle, right? And yeah, you can have an idea of the range of this curve because yeah, this point is 2 pi. This point is sorry, this point is 2 pi. And this point is minus 2 pi, right? This point is minus 2 pi, right? So basically you have an idea of the range, right? So I mean, yeah, this thing, so basically as you have an idea of the range, so I mean this thing has a range something that is greater than this. I mean it's not 2, it's above 2 or something like that, right? But yeah, to get it, you get the basic acute angle, right? So how so in which quadrant is cos positive, right? CAST in the fourth quadrant, right? So what you do is you subtract 1 by 2 pi from the 2 pi value of this fourth quadrant, right? So I mean this is theta 180 minus theta 180 plus theta 360 minus theta or 2 pi minus theta, right? And then you get the value of x, right? You get the value of x, that is going to be equal to 3 by 2 pi, and at x-axis y is going to be equivalent to 0. So yeah. Then it said that find the coordinate of q. Okay, done. It said that the curve C2 has the equation of y equals to minus 4x minus 4 cos x plus k, right? Where x is measured in radians and k is a constant, right? Given that C2 has a maximum y value of 11, right? What is the value of k? So what is the value of k, right? What is the value of k? So to be honest, first of all, you have to know the maximum or the minimum point of cos graphs, right? So the maximum point of a cos graph is going to be equivalent to 1, and the minimum point of a cos graph is going to be equivalent to minus 1. And as it said maximum, so so you have to find the value of k, right? As it said the maximum value of y, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, maximum value of y, right? So at maximum value of y, value of cos x is going to be equals to 1. Cos x is going to be equals to 1 maximum value, right? Because for the maximum value of cos x, you're going to get the maximum value of y as well, right? You create this value, maximum value, and you get a k value of 7, right? Done. Then it said that state the coordinates of the minimum points of C2 with smallest positive, this thing is going to play an important role, positive x coordinate with smallest positive x coordinate, right? The minimum point, the minimum point, right? So basically y equals to 4 minus 4 cos x plus 7 is the equation of the C2 graph, right? Now, they set up, they have a minimum point, right? And the minimum point is going to be positive. So positive minimum point, first of all, we know that minimum point is equals to minus 1, right? So positive minimum point is going to be equals to 1 because it's set up, you have to take up positive value, right? So you cannot take up the negative value. For that reason, you take up x equals to 1 and not minus 1, right? Because it mentioned that that is going to be positive. See, positive smallest positive value. You cannot take up the negative value, right? So smallest positive value is going to be 1, right? So what is 1? Cos 2 pi or cos 360 is equals to 1, right? So yeah, from here you can get the x value to be 2 pi. X value to be 2 pi, right? And you put this x value in the equation, in the y equation, and yeah, cos 2 pi is going to be equal to 1 as shown here. So yeah, y equals to 3. Done. Using diagram 1, state the number of solution of the equation. Okay, equation. All right. So basically, this is the equation of C1 and this is the equation of C2, right? Now, what you have to do is you have to plot a graph of that and you find the number of solution. So what I did was I rearranged this equation to get an equation that would look similar to this. And yeah, this equation has a y-intercept of 5. So yeah, the graph would pass through 5. I mean, yeah, you can plot a table of the values x and y and plot it up over here. And yeah, from here you can find that it intersects at 1 point, right? So the value of solution is going to be 1 as point of intersection is going to be 1, right? So x coordinate of the point of intersection is going to be 1, or the root of the equation is going to be 1. So give me a moment. This is another basic question. All right, so this is another basic question, right? It said that there's this curve with the equation y equals to f of x, right? And the point P that has an x coordinate of 3 lies on the curve C. Okay, P has an x coordinate of 3. Given that f of x is equals to, where x is a constant, dy by dx. The normal to C at the point P has an equation of this, right? Normal to C at point P has an equation of this. So I mean, if we put the value of x equals to 3 in this equation, we can get a value of y. We can easily get a value of y. Yeah, I mean, I did it. Let me just take a look at it. The value of y is going to be 39 by 39 by 39 by 8, right? 39 by 8. Okay. So that k is going to be equals to minus 5. So yeah, first of all, normal. What does the word normal means? This is the head word, right? So normal would mean that gradient of curve into gradient of something, m1 times m2 is going to be equals to minus 1, right? First of all, you have an equation of a perpendicular. This is the equation of a perpendicular, right? From here, you can find the gradient of the perpendicular. So gradient of the perpendicular is going to be minus 1 by 24. From here, you can find the equation of the curve. So gradient of the curve. So gradient of normal times the gradient of curve is going to be equals to minus 1. Gradient of normal is minus 1 by 24. Gradient of curve equals to minus 1. So gradient of curve is going to be equals to 24, right? Y minus 1 by 24 is the gradient. It's because it can be written in the form of y equals to mx plus c, right? Um, so yeah, minus 1 by 24 is the gradient. Let me just erase this up. And once you have the gradient, what you're going to do is Yeah, you have a gradient of the equation of the curve, right? So this gradient is going to be equals to the gradient of the normal as well, right? So, oh no, sorry. This gradient is going to be the gradient of the curve that we found from this multiplication method of normal times the gradient of curve equals to -1, right? This is the gradient of curve as well, right? So um, what you do is, you said that the point P has an x coordinate of 3 and lies on C, and this is the normal at x1. Okay, right? So basically you have an x coordinate of 3, right? So what you do is you equate this up in this equation. You equate the value of 3 in the dy by dx equation first of all, and then you have a value of the gradient in terms of k, right? And then what you do is you get the value of 24, that is the gradient of the curve again, right? You also insert that value in this equation as well, and from there you can find the value of k, that is going to be equals to -5. So basically the gradient is at the point P, right? And P has an x coordinate of 3. P has an x coordinate of 3. So first of all you insert this up in the dy by dx expression, right? And you get an expression in terms of k, right? And then this k is representing the gradient of the curve, right? And we also know from the m1 times m2 equals to -1 equation, the value of the gradient of the curve, right? So this one is going to be k. The equation in terms of k is going to be equals to that gradient. And here, from here, you find the gradient of k, right? Yeah. Now you said that hence find f of x, right? To find the f of x, you have to um, integrate the differentiated form of that expression, because once you integrate the differentiated form of that expression you get an equation in terms of y. So yeah, this entire differentiated form is integrated and it looks something like this, and as there isn't any limit, so yeah, you'll be having a constant. What you have to do is you need to get rid of this constant, and as I said, if you plug this value of x equals to 3 in that normal equation, you get a corresponding value of y, right? And now if you substitute the value of x and the value of y in the equation that you obtain from the integration, then you can find the value of c, and the value of c is going to be minus 141 by 8. And now you equate this value of c back into this equation and you receive an equation that looks something like this, right? Now the last question of this paper, give me a moment guys. This question looks intimidating, but trust me, this is one of the easiest question of this paper, to be honest. It isn't that intimidating as well, right? So figure 4 shows a sketch of the curve with the equation y equals to f of x, right? And f of x is denoted by this, right? So deduce the range of values of x for which f of x is going to be equals to 0. So that greater than, so this entire thing should be greater than equals to 0, right? And yeah, from there you find the values of x. So this entire thing should be greater than equals to 0, right? So x plus 5 greater than equals to 0, and this thing should greater than equals to this. And if you use a calculator to find the value of x, you do not get a value of x for this equation, right? So x greater than equals to -5, this one should be the range. Done. In question B said that find dy by dx in the simplest form. So this is another basic question. First of all, you simplify this entire thing, and once you get a simplified version of it, what you do is you carry out the dy by dx to find the gradient of f prime x of this entire expression, right? Yeah. Then it said that point R has a coordinate of -4 and 8 and lies on the curve C. Okay. Given that tangent to C at point P is parallel to tangent to C at point R, find the x coordinate of P. So first of all, do not get intimidated by this kind of question. So when you get this kind of question, you first go to the fundamentals. What do you understand by the word parallel? It means something where gradient is equal, right? Gradient equals. And then what do you mean by the word tangent? Gradient of curve equals to gradient of tangent. I mean, if you do not know these fundamental rules, then these things are gonna get kind of intimidating for you guys as well. I mean, yeah, I had written them down somewhere. So basically, if you do need that cheat sheet where I posted all of this comment or headwords, then yeah, just let me know in the comment section so that I could upload them, right? So basically, tangent to C at point P is parallel to tangent to C at point R. Okay, so from here, we can easily find the gradient of the curve, right? Gradient of the curve. Okay, so let's just see what I've done over here. Find the value of P. So gradient as it's a tangent, right? So gradient of the tangent should be equals to the gradient of the curve, as I said. I mean, it's a rule and you have to memorize that. So gradient of the curve at x equals to -4. I mean, this is at R. This is at R. See the R. This is at R. So gradient of curve at x equals to -4 should be equals to this one. You have this equation of the gradient, right? You equate this x equals to -4 in this equation and you obtain a gradient of 56. As both of the tangent, now you do not have one tangent, you have two tangent, one at P and one at R, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, one tangent is at R and one tangent is at P, right? You have two tangent, right? So first of all, you find the gradient of the curve from the point of the tangent, like the point from where the curve, where the tangent touches the curve, right? So from there you find the gradient of the curve itself, right? Yeah, and once you have the gradient of the curve, the gradient for the other tangent is going to be equals to the gradient of the curve as well, because it said that parallel. Both of the tangents are parallel. Both of the tangents are parallel to the curve, which means that gradient of both of the tangents are going to be the same. So this was the gradient of the curve, right? And this was the gradient of the first tangent, which tangent at R, which is equivalent to the tangent of P as well, right? Now, if you equate this up, if you equate this up, you get a quadratic expression like this. And if you solve this quadratic expression, you get two values, 14/9 and -4, right? So you cannot take up this -4 value. You have to take up this value because this value is already given in the question, right? So yeah, that was it. Now, he said that the point to which R is transformed when the curve Acha. So find the point to which R is transformed when the curve with the equation y equals to f of x is transformed to the curve with the equation. Okay. So from this equation for point R, and R had a coordinate of -484, right? R -484, right? Simplistically, x -3 would mean x coordinate shifts to the right by 3 units. So the coordinate of point R, if this transformation is applied, is going to be -4 plus 384 is going to be equivalent to -1 times 84. And for this is the stretch of the curve. This is the vertical stretch of the curve, which means that the y coordinate is going to get changed as well. Only the y coordinate is going to get changed. So R equals to -4, 84 times 4. This should give the value. So yeah, I've done that. Y equals to -4 plus 3. If shifts, if y equals to fx -3, it means the shifts right by 3 units, right? So -4 plus 3 equals to 1, and yeah. And y equals to f of x, it means that it's a vertical stretch. So 84 times 4, I mean the vertical value or the y value is going to be 84. So 84 times 4 is going to be 336. So for point R, the coordinates are going to be -4 and 336. I mean, yeah. So that was it for today. If you need any help, just let us know in the comment section. This was a quick paper as most of your exams are approaching and you guys do not have much of the leisures to watch detailed videos. So I tried my best to jot it down into as simple terms as possible. If you do have any questions, feel free to use the comment section. Or if you want to be added to our group, then let us know in the comment section as well. So yeah, all the best.